Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevayat Bhagavate Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः नमो पङ्कजनाभाय नमो पङ्कजमालिने नमो पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्घ्रि Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 17, verses 1 to 14. The Supreme Lord agrees to become Aditi's son. Text from Sukadeva Goswami said, O king, after Aditi was thus advised by her husband Kastyapa Muni, she strictly followed his instructions without laziness and in this way performed the Payovrata ritualistic ceremony. Text 2 and 3. With full undiverted attention, Aditi thought of the supreme personality of Godhead, and in this way brought under full control her mind and senses, which resemble forceful horses. She concentrated her mind upon the Supreme Lord Vasudeva. Thus she performed the ritualistic ceremony known as Payovrata. Text 4. My dear king, the original supreme personality of Godhead, dressed in the yellow garments and bearing a conch shell, disc, club, and lotus in his hands, then appeared before Aditi. Text 5. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead became visible to Aditi's eyes, Aditi was so overwhelmed by transcendental bliss that she at once stood up and then fell to the ground like a rod and offered the Lord her respectful obeisances. Text 6. Aditi stood silently with folded hands, uh, unable to offer prayers to the Lord because of transcendental bliss. Tears filled her eyes, and her hairs on her body stood on end. Because she could see the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face, she felt ecstasy and her body trembled. Text 7. O Maharaja Parikshit, the demigoddesses Aditi then began offering her prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in an flattering voice and with great love. She appeared as through drinking through her eyes the Supreme Lord, who is the husband of the goddess of fortune, the enjoyer of all sacrificial ceremonies, and the master of the Lord of the entire universe. Text 8. The goddesses Aditi said, O master and enjoyer of all sacrificial ceremonies, O infallible and most famous person, whose name, when chanted, spreads all good fortune, O original supreme personality of Godhead, supreme controller, shelter of all holy places, you are the shelter of all poor, suffering living entities, and you have appeared to diminish their sufferings. Please be kind to us and spread our good fortune. Text 9. My Lord, you are all pervading and universal form. You are all pervading all universal forms, the fully independent creator, maintainer, and destroyer of this universe. Although you engage your energies in matter, you are always situated in your original form and never fall from that position. For for your knowledge is infallible and always suitable to any situation. You are never bewildered by illusion. O my Lord, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Text 10. O unlimited one, if your lordship is satisfied, one can very easily obtain a lifetime as long as that of Lord Brahma, a body either in the upper, lower, or middle planetary systems, unlimited material opulences, religion, economic development, and satisfaction of the senses, full transcendental knowledge, and the 8 yogic perfections, which what to speak of such pretty achievements as conquering one's rivals. Text 11. Sukadeva Goswami said, O King Parikshit, best of the Bharata dynasty, when the lotus-eyed Lord, the supreme super soul of all living entities, was thus worshipped by Aditi, he replied as follows. Text 12. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Mother of the Goddesses, I have already understood your long cherished desires for the welfare of your sons. You have been deprived of all opulences and driven from from their residences by their enemies. Text 13. O Devi, O goddesses, I can understand that you want to regain your sons and be together with them to worship me. After defeating the enemies in battle and retrieving your abode and opulences. Text 14. You want to see the wives of the demons lamenting for the death of their husbands when those demons, the enemies of your sons, are killed in the battle by the demigods of whom Indra is the chief. Thank you, Prabhuji and Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Swamini Gopi Mataji. Hare Krishna Sundaracala Prabhuji. Please accept our humble obeisances of Vishnu Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Please take over the call, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Somani Gopal Mataji, for reading today's verse. Thank you, Radhika Mataji. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Um, uh, Welcome to the Srimad Bhagavatam session on this Monday. So August 18th, 2025. So today we will be going through the 17th chapter. This is the beginning of a 17th chapter of the 8th canto. So far, what we have heard in this canto is 8th canto is basically talking about the Manvantara avatars. It is talking about the purpose of each Manvantara avatars and the uh, Manu Putras. It talks about the sons of Manus. It talks about the Indra, who is the king of the heavenly realms during the Manvantara. So the purpose of all this, why the Lord creates the universe and have these are universal administrators in place and sages in place to re-establish the dharma at the end of every yuga. So how the Lord orchestrates um, all this universal management was being described by Sukadeva Goswami. That's what we heard. So during the course of the journey, when Sukadeva Goswami was explaining about the particular incident, Vaman Avatar, Parikshit Maharaj was asked about. He was very keen and interested to know about the Vaman Avatar. It was explained that he appeared as a very small Brahmana boy, and he was a very short person. And this Brahmana, cute-looking boy, actually eventually became Trivikramana and occupied all the three worlds. Like that, it was described, and in fact, occupied the whole universe. He grown tall, and he forcefully taken the three worlds from uh, Bali Maharaja. Of course, Bali Maharaja was voluntarily giving it, and being the devotee of the Lord. So all that we have heard, all that was briefly described. When it was briefly described, Parikshit Maharaj was very interested to know about it. So he asked a question. Can you please explain, elaborate more about this pastime of Vaman Avatar? And then Lord explains about the background behind it, the background where the demons have taken over the three worlds. Bali Maharaja has been enthroned. He was protected from being from the verge of the death, and how just by pleasing his gurus, Bali Maharaj gained that position of conquering the three worlds. Though there is a very high bar for qualification uh, to rule a heavenly realm, still because of the blessings of his guru, he was able to achieve that position, exalted position. Now, in the same journey, what is being explained in the previous chapter, 16th chapter, is the mother Aditi, who is the mother of Devatas, Indradev. She actually was lamenting. So her husband coming back from the hermitage, from the tapas, he came back to actually, he was meditating on the Lord, and he took a break and he came back to his hermitage, and he saw the wife was lamenting, and he inquired from her, why are you lamenting? And upon hearing her desire, that that her sons need to be relieved from this uh, they were devoid of the opulences of heavenly realm because of the Bali Maharaja's forceful takeover of the three worlds. So Kashyapa Muni says, do a Payavrata to please the Supreme Lord. So she performed the Payavrata to please the Supreme Lord very sincerely for 12 days. So this is a continuation of the same storyline. The Supreme Lord agrees to become Aditi's son. That is the title of this chapter. We will discuss the first 14 verses. So before the continuing, I will offer brief prayers to our Guru and Guru Parampara. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostude तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रे वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So in this chapter, we are starting with verse number 1, where it is mentioned Shri Shuka Uvacha iti ukta sa aditi rajan sabhartra kashyapena vai an atishthat vratam idam dvadasham atandrita. So dvadashaham, that means after 12 days, aham mean day, after 12 days, atandrita, without laziness, she performed payovrata, Mother Aditi, and based upon the instruction of Swabharta Kashyapena Vai. And when she performed, when she executed Atishtat, what happened? Uh, what happened is indicated in the purport where Prabhupada is mentioning, for the advancement in anything, especially in the spiritual life, one must strictly follow the bona fide instructions of the teacher. Aditi did this, and she strictly followed the instructions of her husband and Guru, as confirmed in Vedic injunction. Yashadeve parabhaktir yatha deve tatha guru. This is tasyaite katita hyartah prakashante mahatmanaha. So this verse from Svetasvatara Upanishad says, unto the great souls who have implicit faith upon both Lord Deve and also Guru, spiritual master, yatha devi tatha guru, tasyaite katita hi artaha. The imports of the Vedic knowledge are automatically revealed to such a sincere disciple because he's faithfully trying to, uh, he has implicit faith on not just Lord, but also on the Guru and his instructions. So Prabhupada further says, as soon as the disciple thinks independently, not caring for the instructions of spiritual master, he is a failure. Yashya aprasadan na gati kutopi. Yashya prasadan na gati kutopi. That we sing every morning without caring for the spiritual master's instructions, trying to act independently in our spiritual endeavors, even in every aspect. with something which is not in line with the instructions of a guru will ultimately lead to a failure of the disciple. And Aditi very strictly followed the instructions of her husband, and she accepted him as a spiritual master, and thus she was very, very successful. And a husband who is spiritually elevated, in fact, a husband uh, who is such an exalted person like Kashyapa, Aditi being a chaste woman and a wonderful devotee, she followed the instructions without laziness. So here, um, where in Nectar of Instruction, a similar what are the 6 factors that contribute towards a successful devotional life is detailed by Rupa Goswami. And these are very important factors where Rupa Goswami says, Utsaha Nischayat Dhairyat Tat Tat Karma Pravartanat Shangat Chagat Sato Vrutte Shadbhir Bhaktir Prasidhyati. Advances, the bhakti advances, prasidhyati. With these factors, one of the important factors is without laziness, one being very enthusiastically performing the duties of bhakti. Utsaha and nischayat, by confidence, one must execute these devotional activities. By patience, dhairyat, tattar karma pravartanat. So when you see Wha- uh, and this principle of utsahat, enthusiasm without laziness, is explained as very first in the principles. And um, that's why it is very important, just like how Mother Aditi did without any laziness, performed her devotional activities. We all can derive inspiration and perform our, though we are immersed in our daily duties, though we are immersed in our family activities, we perform our spiritual activities as well, which are prescribed by Prabhupada, which are instructed by gurus for our own well-being. So second and third verse talks about, uh, as you can see, with full undiverted attention, Aditi thought of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and in this way brought under full control her mind and senses, which resemble forceful horses. She concentrated her mind upon the Supreme Lord Vasudeva. Thus she performed ritualistic ceremony known as Vayovrata. It is described how she performed, how focused was she, was explained in this verse. Ekaya buddhya Chintayanti ekaya buddhya. With full undiverted attention, initially it is described that with she was focusing on one particular activity at a time. And this particular, that's why it is mentioned ekaya buddhya. She's not doing so many activities, multitasking while worshipping the Lord during those 12 days. She was very focused on one particular, she was very uh, specific about doing only one activity. And then what happens? Mahapurusham Ishwaram Pragruhyendriya Ashwan, which are the senses are like Ashwan, which are like horses. The gross senses are very difficult to control. In fact, the subtle senses are even more difficult to control. Such senses, which are very difficult to control, Indriya Dushta Ashwan. So Dushta means very difficult to control. Manasa Buddhi Sarathihi. And she was able to control by using the carrier of Buddhi Sarathihi, using the higher intelligence. She tried to control her senses through the media of Manas, mind. And it is described in the next verse, third verse, that Manas cha Griya Buddhya. And then with her gross senses and subtle senses being controlled, naturally what happened? She was able to, at the next level, ekagraya buddhya. She was able to gain the fullest attention on the Lord. And she was able to concentrate the mind, which is the most difficult sense to, mind is one of the difficult senses to have to control. And such a mind, she was able to focus on the Lord by following this vrata. Bhagavata Akhilatmani. And it is described here, Bhagavan, she was focusing on the Paramatma who is residing in every living entity. Vasudeve Samadhaya Chacharahi Payovratam. That's how she executed Payovrata. Prabhupada says, without desire for material profit or gain, through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation, one must perform transcendental loving service unto the Krishna favorably. And that is called pure devotional service. And using the prescribed methods, uh, like how Maharaj Ambarish did, Savai Manak Krishna Padaravindayo, engaging every single sense in a particular activity. Manas, he was able to you know, Ambarish Maharaj was able to focus his mind on the lotus feet of the Lord, and as the devotee does not need to practice the Hatha Yoga system to control the mind and senses. His mind and senses are automatically controlled because of unalloyed devotion towards the Lord. Because of the service he does to the Lord, automatically he is able to control mind and senses, which are otherwise difficult to control. So it is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakurji is quoting Mano Rashmir Buddhistod. The mind is the rein and intelligence is the driver. So this is the verse actually that explains the horse chariot analogy, where horses represents the senses, manas represents the reins, and intelligence represents the driver, and the soul being the passenger. So that analogy is quoted in 4.29 in verses where the talks happen between Narada Muni and Prachina Barhi. In those talks, we will hear that in 29th chapter of 4th canto. Uh, that what particular verse which says Mano Rashmir Buddhistot. That means mind is the reins, Rashmir, and Buddhi being the uh, driver, Suto. So that is what is similarly referred here in the 3rd and 4th verses. A similar analogy was given to explain. Lord Vishnu then appeared in his beautiful 400 form before Aditi. Tasya pradurbhutata Bhagavan Adipurushaha Pitavasyaschaturbahur Shankachakra Gadadharaha. With dressed in yellow garments, bearing a conch shell, disc, club, lotus in his 4 hands, he appeared before Aditi. And Aditi's response, you can see in the 5th and 6th verse. Aditi was really overwhelmed with the transcendental bliss, and she stood up and she offered dandavats. It is very rare to see Mataji is performing dandavats, but here you can see even Mataji is also perform dandavats during particular moments like this, where Mother Aditi did it, and she stood silently with the folded hands, unable to offer prayers. Tears filled her eyes, her hair stood on end, and her body trembled. So she's exhibiting those Ashtasattva vikaras exhibited by a pure devotee. And that is what is mentioned in this verse. Not out of craziness, but Preeti Vihvala, almost puzzled because of transcendental bliss, because of the pure devotion that purified heart she has, and also the because Lord has blessed her, she was able to get this wonderful opulence of exhibiting these 8 ashtasatvika vikaras. So these are ornaments to a devotee, and seeing the Supreme Lord, uh, she was very overwhelmed by the bliss, as you can see. And it is mentioned in the 6th verse, Baddhanjali, she was stunned. In fact, she was stunned by seeing the Lord's beauty, and 7th verse says, Aditi began offering prayers in faltering voice with a great love, and she appeared to drink with her eyes the Lord who is Ramapatim Yajnapatim Jagatpatim. Let me recite the verse. Prityashaner Gadgadaya Gira Harim Tuštva Sa Devi Aditi Kurudvaha Udvikshati Sapibati Vachakshusha Ramapatim Yajnapatim Jagatpatim. So it is described that Lord, who is the husband of Lakshmi, Ramapati, and she also glorified Lord as Yajnapatim, enjoyer of sacrifices, and Jagatpatim, who is the master of universe. All those she spontaneously spoke. And owing to the presence of the Lord, Aditi was fully assured that the troublesome condition created by the demons would now end. Now she is very confident. Now that Lord is assuring with his presence, she started offering prayers from verse number 8. And there is a great meaning to these names, that inner meanings explained by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakurji, that he offers Ramapati indicates that Lord is going to offer her sons all the opulences that they have lost through performing Vaman avatar pastimes. Lord is addressed as a Yajnapatim because she performed Yajna of Payavrata for getting Lord as his son, Vamanadev. And Jagatpatim she addressed because Lord would deliver the whole world with his pastimes. She was completely satisfied to see the master and lord of the entire universe come before her to fulfill her desire. So that's what is mentioned in the purport. So 8th and 9th verse, you can see the prayers. Yajnesha yajna purushachyuta tirthapada. Yajnesha, O master of sacrifice, you gave the result of my woe. Yajna Purusha, O personification of sacrifice, you were worshipped since my birth. O Achyuta, O infallible, please destroy the fall of your devotee, Indra, my son. O Tirthapada, your feet are shelter of all holy places. They will produce Ganga. And then Tirtha, Tirthashrava Shravana Mangala Namadheya. Tirthashrava celebrated as the ultimate shelter of all saintly persons. Oh, most famous one. I and here the inner meaning is you will be famous for cheating Bali Maharaj. Sh- Shravana Mangala Namadheya, O Lord, whose name is auspicious to hear. When we hear names like Trivikrama, Upendra, Vamana, those names are very blissful to the ears. That's what Mother Aditi is saying. Apannaloka Vrijunopasyamodaya Yadya. So you appear to diminish the suffering of your surrendered devotees. O original Lord, Adya, Shamna Krushida Bhagavan Asidina Natha. Please bestow auspiciousness unto us, O dear Lord. O Supreme Controller, hmm, Dinanatha. O Lord, you are only shelter of the wretched. Like that she addresses. And in the purport, Lord is the source of Ganges water. And Lord is addressed as Achyuta because he is infallible, because he takes care of his devotees. Anyone inimical to the devotees, he never fails in vanquishing those envious people to protect the devotees. That's why he's called Achyuta. So there are two angles to that name. Any place where the Supreme Personality of Godhead displays his pastimes, such as Vrindavana or Dwaraka, becomes a holy place. Prabhupada says that's why he is called in the first line Tirthapada. The chanting of the holy name Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So he is pleasing to ear. And Prabhupada is saying it expands the good fortune to the audience. That Prabhupada is addressing here uh, the third line, um, Shamnaha, you bestow supreme auspiciousness upon us with the holy name Hare Krishna mantra, right? That will bring supreme auspiciousness to everybody. And the infallible Lord was described in the ninth verse. Swairam gruhita purushakti gunaya bhumne vishwasya vishwaya vishwabhavana sthiti shamyamaya. You are the all-pervading universal form. You are the maintainer, creator, and you are the destroyer. And Swairam Gruhita Purushakti Gunaya Bhumne. You are fully independent, Swairam, and you are greatest Bhumne. You accept the material modes and you and engage your energy in the matter. And she describes Swasthaya Shashwat Upabhrumhita Purna Bodha. Yet you are the eternally situated in your original form and your knowledge is infallible. Though you associate with the material world, it's not that your knowledge becomes covered. Your knowledge is infallible. He in fact performs past without he being directly in the goloka eva nivishatya khilatma bhuto govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. He eternally is situated in the goloka and he engages his energies to to perform creational maintenance and destroying of the universe. He never have to personally take charge of these things. So what she's implying in this verse is one who surrenders unto such glorious Lord, who is can influence the material illusory energy, who is the controller of that illusory material energy. The super soul can give an intelligence to a jiva who is surrendered to such Lord, will never be fall victim for illusion. He will never be falling victim for illusion. One is surrendered to that glorious Supreme Lord. That's what she's implying. And Siddhanta baliya chitte nakara alasa iha haite krishne lage sudruda manasa. Here, Chaitanya Charitamrita Adilila verse was quoted by Prabhupada that one has to, uh, unless a sincere students of Krishna Bhakti should not neglect the discussion of conclusions, philosophy of Krishna conscious philosophy, and and because such important the study of Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita will strengthen one's mind. Thus, one's mind becomes attached to Sri Krishna. This is very important actually. And just as sunshine and heat all over the universe are expansions of sun, whatever is in this universe is also an expansion of potency of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Prabhupada says. And the Supreme Lord is situated in the heart of everyone, so especially in the heart of devotee. And he gives intelligence from inside, by which one is never to fall into illusions. So in the 10th verse, Mother Aditi prays, please fulfill my desire. If you're satisfied, one can easily obtain a long life, a desirable body. So if we please Lord Krishna, what is there that cannot be achieved? Everything can be achieved. She's saying a long life can be achieved, desirable body can be achieved, healthy body, strong body, unparalleled opulence can be achieved. Of course, these are not the goals, but she's aspiring for these planets, uh, yogic perfections, trivargas, knowledge, and so on. Of course, she is asking for the well-being of of our children. And she says, if you can offer if your devotion can offer all these things, what to speak of petty achievements such as conquering one's enemies? Konu sapatna jayair ashihi. That's what she says. 11th and 20th verse, Lord Vishnu reveals his plan to Aditi. Lotus head Lord replied to Aditi as follows. And she says, he says in the 12th verse, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Deva Matar Bhavachya me Vijnatam chirakangshinam yat sapatnair hrutastrinam cha avitiram swadhamataha. So, oh best of mm, oh Aditi, I understand your desires. You're trying, you desire to regain your son's kingdom, and you're worshipping with them. You desire to worship me with them, along with them. So you want to have them take over the heavenly kingdom, three worlds, ruling of three worlds. And you have a desire of defeating the demons and seeing their wives lamenting for their death, and enjoyment of your sons after regaining their lost positions in the heaven. So as you can see, a Kshatriya spirit is no, is being acknowledged by Lord here in the 13th and 14th and 15th verse, where someone like Mother Aditi has, she is so chivalrous that she's she would like to see the defeat of the demons, and Lord could see that from inside her heart, that she desires to see the defeat of demons, and that when those demons are dead, dangerous demons are dead, the wives lamenting for their death, and she want to see that her sons regaining the lost positions. Um, that is what is described. That is it for today, dear devotees. Thank you so much for attending today's Bhagavatam session. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna to everyone.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, thank you.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Sundaracala Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.